Good evening, folks. Welcome once again to Get Outdoors with Hook Outdoors Facebook Live show. We are coming to you tonight from here at the store. Tonight I am pleased to have along not only Evan Barker tonight, but his, I guess his former and current fishing partner, Jay Isaacs. Jay was a former member of the Round County Bass Fishing Team, and he signed with Morehead State University, and now he's a member of Morehead State University's fishing team. Evan, if you want to give a little bit further introduction, and then we'll kind of let Jay take over and talk for himself a minute.
All right, yep. Me and Jay, we've had a lot of success this past year on the high school trail. You know, we ended up winning the Fishers of Men Kentucky State Championship down in Cumberland, and we won the Fishers of Men National high school national championship up in La Crosse, Wisconsin. So, you know, it's been a fun year fishing with Jay, and we get one more go around this weekend at Lake Cumberland fishing the Bassmaster High School Open. So, but you know, overall it's been a good year. You know, me and Jay, we not only just high school fishing, you know, we just go out and fun fish and stuff like that all the time. So, yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. So, yeah, Jay, take it away.
Yeah, we became pretty good buddies just fishing throughout high school, and then we became partners, and you know, we had pretty good success. So I went on to do my own thing at Morehead, and they had a rescheduled event on Lake Cumberland, and fortunately I was able to be able to fish it with Evan. So
Well, you know, guys, I'm really curious about all this because, like I've talked with Evan before, when I was in school, there just wasn't opportunities like this to fish, you know, and actually be able to start out at a high school level and have a path laid out before you. You know, if you want to eventually have dreams of fishing professionally or just want to be involved in the fishing industry, you know, and now with the advent of professional fishing and the introduction of keen fishing into the high school and the collegiate level, you know, it's just fascinating. And I guess, you know, I'm going to let you guys pretty much lead this tonight. I guess my first question is, since, you know, one of you are still fishing in high school and the other one is still, and one of you are in college now fishing, what is there a big difference that you see, Jay, as far as just the way the tournaments are conducted, or just, you know, is there any big noticeable differences, even the amounts of fish that are weighed in and the caliber of fishermen and that kind of thing?
yeah, I mean, you go to the college level and they run those tournaments like a pro tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be fishing against people who'll be in the pros in a year or two.
Right.
So the level of competition in college is it's crazy how good some of those kids are.
Sure.
And they run those tournaments just like the pros. They'll everything is run just like a Bassmaster elite tournament.
Really, the main difference between high school and college fishing, you know, it's the same concept. You know, there's two partners. You know, they go out and they fish an 8-hour tournament. But you know, in high school you have the boat captain, and really, you know, all the boat captain does is he's there to drive the boat, and depending on the rules on the organization, they can, you know, net fish, or like they can give advice and kind of teach while we're out there on the water at the high school level. But you know, that boat captain, once you get to college level, you know, it goes away, and there's for a lot of guys there's a big difference there, because you can fish with a boat captain that's really experienced, you know, fish tournaments for years and years, been to a lot of different lakes, and then when you take that away, it's just big. It's a big difference between high school and college fishing, because when you get there, you have to make your own decisions and all that stuff. So that's really the main difference between the two.
Yeah, I guess that would be one thing I was wondering about, you know, because I know, like, where, you know, a lot of these high school anglers are under 18, you know, assuming you have to, you know, to cut down on any kind of liability, you have to have an adult in the boat as far as that goes. And I was curious about that. They don't even have it like even an impartial judge in the boat or anything at the college level.
No, it's just the two partners fishing together.
Okay. I guess you know, and now in high school versus college, Are most high school tournaments just like single day deals versus college tournaments or multi-day deals, or is that pretty much the same here regardless?
Like the Bassmaster High School Open that we're fishing on Cumberland this weekend, like the college tournament is 3 days, but and then the high school tournament is just 1 day. You know, it kind of varies on the organization how they run it. You know, your bigger tournaments are going to be 1, 2, or 3 days, and then you got all the smaller tournaments like just fishing like a 1 day open or something like that, or I don't know, like our KHSA regional down here. It's just like a 1 day tournament, so it just depends on the organization.
Go ahead, Jay.
Well, like most of the high school tournaments, they're usually like on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
But you get up like into the college tournaments, and they'll start on Thursdays, Fridays, or even they'll start on Saturdays. But you'll have 2-3 days of practice that you'll go to. So
Well, that's like I was noticing Evan's been watching the weigh-in from whatever college tournament that is at Lake Cumberland this week. If you guys want to kind of expand on what that is, and then go into the tournament that you just got back from there on Kentucky Lake, and how that went, and the number of teams, and just kind of enlighten everyone to what that experience was like.
So the tournament I was watching earlier, I was watching the live weigh-in on the Bassmaster College Series at Lake Cumberland, and it's their tournament this week. It's a 3-day tournament, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they actually started practicing Monday, so they got to practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the tournament started Thursday, and then they run through Saturday. So I mean, it's when you go up there and you fish at the collegiate level, most of the time you're fishing for a week at a time, a week straight, whether you're fishing FLW or bass. They really all run about the same deal. If you're in like a bigger tournament like that, like a multi-day tournament, 2 or 3 days, you're gonna have 2 or 3 days of practice before it.
Mhm.
So you're gonna have a whole week of fishing when you go to one, as opposed to like the high school side of it that's down here this weekend on Sunday, where it's just a 1 day tournament. We've only got 1 day of official practice, which is the day before on Saturday. So that's kind of the difference there.
yeah, well, I just got back from Kentucky Lake. It was my first college tournament, and it was tough down there. It was definitely like a gut check for me.
Yeah.
It's completely different. Just you and your partner going down there all by yourself. We drove down there 7 hours, fished Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
That's tough, man. At any age, that's tough. How many teams are at this deal?
I think they capped it at 150.
Okay. Now, who was this through?
It was through Collegiate Bass,
Mhm.
Big Bass Bash.
Okay.
So basically that deal is, you've got 2 days, and there's 4 sessions each day,
Mhm.
and they take the top 10 big bass from each session. Yeah, so it's not a 5-fish tournament, it's a 1-fish
It's
tournament.
a big fish
Yeah.
tournament. Okay. Now, how do they do, where it's a collegiate, amateur type deal, what do they do prize-wise? I mean, is it just scholarship kind of thing?
Yeah,
or-
there's scholarships and contingency prizes,
Mhm.
and then you're also running for School of the Year, which is a big deal.
Sure, sure.
So each person the top 100 big bass
Mhm.
got from each school,
Mhm.
they got a certain amount of points for how high their bass ranked.
Yeah.
So I think we got 950 some, and that put us up to 59th place.
Okay. And of course, do you get like an individual trophy, if you happen to finish in the thing, or is that just like a school trophy?
No, I'm sure you get an individual trophy.
Okay. And then what about like for this high school tournament, you're all fishing Sunday, will you all, if you guys play sign up and happen to win, be in the trophy numbers, is that like your trophy, or is that like school trophy?
Pretty sure it's our trophy. They give out in that tournament. Best I remember, they'll give out first, second, and third place trophies,
Mhm.
and which they also do money prizes too. But the deal with the money, it goes like if your school, like the high school fishing team, if they have an account, it'll go directly into that
Okay.
account instead of say like if me and Jay go down there and we get first, second, or third, or we finish in the money or something like that. And instead of us splitting that money, it would go into a school account.
Okay. And I guess that's another thing too, like, you know, I'm assuming that the team from Moorhead is more of a club type deal and not like an official
Yeah.
MSU sport. So you guys are pretty much on your own financially, aren't you? I mean, I guess you could do some fundraisers and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
but, you know, you don't get big dollars from university to support like trips and tournaments and that kind of thing.
No, we're working on it, but right now we're mostly based on sponsorships,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
deals like that, and
Sure.
fundraisers and stuff like that.
Has your, I guess, your fishing style or maybe some of the methods or techniques, since you've been around a higher level of competition, have you changed the way you've done some things in the past, or some things you've done in the past, you're like, you know, that's just not working, and you see what these other guys are doing, and you're kind of adapting to what other people are doing, maybe?
Well, I've only been to one tournament so far, but
Sure.
it was Kentucky Lake. It was completely different. A lot of that style fishing was ledge fishing.
Sure.
I've never been a part of that, so it definitely taught me a lot of stuff.
You know, another good thing about like college fishing and all that stuff, just
Right.
If you just sit down and look at the schedule, like a lot of these college teams go to, like, you know,
Right.
they're at a different lake and fishing a different tournament, you know, every other week. You know, one week they'll be in Tennessee somewhere, and the next week they'll be down in Alabama, and
Okay.
they'll have an off week, and then they'll come up here and fish in Kentucky or something like that. So, you know, they're traveling all the time. And when you get to that level, you're traveling a lot more, and you're fishing a lot different conditions and a lot different lakes and all that stuff. And that's really where you get to learn a whole lot of stuff. It's different than going out here, you know, like where we have Cave Run right here in our backyard.
Sure.
You know, we can go out here and fish Cave Run all the time and learn. I mean, you know, I'm still learning every day on Cave Run, but you know, you get all that local knowledge and fishing memory and stuff like that on this lake. But
Right.
you know, when you go to a different lake, like you know, they'll have tournaments down in Texas and things like that. You know, neither of us, we've never been to Texas. So
Sure, yeah.
if we went down there and fished a high school or a college tournament together, you know, it'd be a real learning curve.
Oh, heck
But
yeah.
that's most of the fun there. Like, you
Yeah.
know, we went up to Wisconsin and fishing the Mississippi River. We never fished a river system or fished up north or anything like that. So it was definitely a learning curve. But that's a lot of fun. You know, just getting things figured out, getting the pattern figured out on a different style of fishing than we're used to.
I've heard Evan talk about the water and all that up there and some of those I guess I won't say coffer dams.
Oh,
but
wing dams.
Those wing dams. Was that kind of a new experience for you
Oh,
too?
yeah. You go to places like Cumberland and you don't have to worry about running anywhere. But then you go up there and there'll be wing dams and they'll be like 6 inches underwater, and you just gotta be set.
Man.
We hit one going about 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, we was about 500 yards from the weigh in. Fortunately, we was a little bit early. We was about 10 minutes early to weigh in, and it gave our motor a shock. But we ended up getting back. We got back to the weigh in. You know, everything on the Yamaha was fine, but honestly, I don't know how.
Yeah, it's definitely stuff that it's just completely different. We had to learn about.
Yeah.
We were fishing backwaters, and it'd be like pretty much an island.
Yeah.
It'd be like 6 inches, 4 inches of water
Mm-hmm.
for like a 100-yard flat. You just couldn't get over it.
And it was weird too running down there. We'd run on the main river for I don't know 5 miles or something like that up to where we was going,
Mhm.
and then we'd turn into the backwater areas, that Goose Island area up there and pull out the Mississippi River,
Sure.
and we'd pull in there, and you know we'd be running on pad, you know, 45, 50 mile an hour in 3 feet of water. You know, that was just it was definitely a weird experience. It was terrifying the first day, honestly, because I mean we never even dreamt of running in 2, 3 foot of water like that. But after the first day, we kind of got used to it. But
Sure.
Yeah, we were kind of easing into places, and then you have these big locals with their brand new Phoenixes run through there.
and in places like they'd be running new Phoenixes and Rangers and all that stuff, and you know, canals not as wide as the aisles here at the store. I mean, it was like nothing I've ever seen. It was crazy.
You know, I've been curious where you kind of made the step from the high school level to the college level. Whenever you started high school, or even when you started high school fishing, you know, was this something was this in your plan that, you know, hey, I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna go to college and fish for a college fishing team?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
We, I would fun fish around, and then, I guess the end of my sophomore year, the beginning of my junior year, they made a team,
Sure.
and I joined, and, I just started to really like it, and, I got into like a tournament mode, so,
Mhm.
just started fishing so many tournaments, and then around the end of my junior year, mainly the beginning of my senior year, I was like, I'm gonna try to go somewhere.
And you know, now with all the organizations like Bass, FLW, and all that stuff, even up through like the collegiate series and all that stuff, they paved such a good path for young kids to start and work their way up through the system and get up to where, you know, you're fishing against Gerald Swindle and Kevin Van Dam and all them guys. But you know, you can start at like even Bassmaster, they have a junior series for middle schoolers, and you get down.
Really?
Then you get up into the high school series, and then once you graduate up through there, you go in college series, start fishing BFLs and Toyota series, Bass Opens, and after that, you have the opportunity to work up to the FLW Tour or something like that.
Now, are you allowed, you know, if you think of traditional college athletics, you know, they're not allowed to, you know, go out and, I'll say like a kid is playing some kind of college sport, but say he gets drafted to play baseball. Well, I don't think he's allowed to, you know, get paid to play baseball by some organization and still play college ball and be counted as an amateur. Do you know, is that like, I mean, can you go out and, could you, if you got the opportunity to fish on one of these professional opens, like a Bassmaster Open, and place for money, are you allowed to do that and still keep your amateur status or collegiate status?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's not through like the NCAA.
Oh,
It's
okay.
its own little.
Okay. So it's not necessarily governed by a collegiate body, like you said, like the NCAA or something like that.
Not through like the NCAA.
And like the same thing with you, Evan, I mean, you know, of course, now this tournament you're fishing this weekend, this isn't a KHSA sanctioned tournament, but it is a high school only tournament. But I guess, you know, you're allowed to fish tournaments that actually pay prize money, if it's just a private tournament and that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's, not that I know of, there's really no restrictions to that. You know, it's we're in separate organizations from KHSA and NCAA, things like that, those main governing bodies, where we're in separate organizations like FLW and Bass. We can still go out here and fish. Like, you know, me and Dad or me and Jay or anybody, you know, we can go out here and we can fish, you know, USA Bass and Skeeters, or if we wanted to go fish BFLs or anything like that, there's really no rules against it.
Well, if you guys were, say, just starting out in high school again, or if you had to give a little bit of advice to say there's a kid in middle school that, and you know, now Round County has a high school team, is there any piece of advice, I mean, other than just start fishing? I mean, is there something that you could tell them that, you know, that you look back and like, you know, wish someone had told me that when I first started all this?
I just build relationships with everybody.
Yeah.
Just locals, they'll help you out a lot. Just
Sure.
Anybody that fishes, just get to know them, talk to them.
Yeah, and I guess too, they need to think about this, you know, don't sweat it if you skunk.
No.
You know, if you, because you're probably gonna not weigh fish more than you weigh fish. You know, at least it's been my experience as far as that goes.
Me and Jay's had some tough tournaments. We won that state championship down on Lake Cumberland back in June, and you know, the next day we came down here and we fished in the SAF national qualifier high school tournament. We absolutely just bombed it. It was awful, but
yeah, Cave Run will humble you.
It'll humble you.
Yeah, it'll humble you.
You can go from the highest to highs to the lowest of lows. as quick as I don't even know.
Well, you know, Jay, I kinda know, you know, I've talked to Evan at length, and I kinda got an idea of, you know, kinda how he likes to fish and everything, is, you know, what is your preferred style, and then, you know, what's your preferred, water conditions and that sort of thing?
I'd like a little stain
Mm-hmm.
and fish shallow.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah,
my favorite, you know, throwing a spinner bait, flipping some.
yeah,
And then I also like to get out deep, fish brush piles,
right,
fish offshore structures, stuff like that too.
right.
That's another reason why, you know, me and Jay, we started fishing tournaments together, and it was last fall, we started fishing tournaments together, and, you know, we just immediately clicked. Our fishing style was just, they worked together. We could get up on the front deck of the boat, and it was never an argument. Like, I would never say, well, let's go fish deep, and he would say, let's go shallow, or then we never end up arguing about what we need to do.
Right.
It just never worked out like that. You know, that's a big thing as far as like for the high school kids just getting into it, picking a partner that you can that you can click with. You gotta be friends with them. I mean, that's the main thing. You can't go out there with somebody you don't like
Yeah,
and expect to do
you
good.
can't spend 8 hours in a boat with someone and not get along with them. You just can't. Do you have a plan? I mean, is this is fishing, or at least being involved in the, of course, naturally, I'm assuming you're wanting to, if you had a chance to fish professionally, then that would be your ultimate path.
Yeah.
But even if that, are you pretty well anchored into this industry as far as like even, you know, you just want to be connected with it in some way, even moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I love fishing. I'd love to go pro,
Mm-hmm.
but even if I didn't get that chance, I'd still fish, you know, BFLs,
Sure.
like some pretty big tournaments, and I'd like to get into, you know,
Mhm.
the fishing industry in some way.
And see, that's the thing now that I see from being in the retail end of it and going to tackle shows and stuff versus, you know, 20 or 30 years ago. You know, you guys can have a name for yourself even coming out of high school, and even more of a name and a reputation for yourself at the once you get through college, you know, especially toward the end of your college career. And you know, there's a variety of opportunities that you know, you may not necessarily be walking across the stage at the Classic, but there's a lot of other good opportunities out there as far as that goes, that keeps you in contact with the industry, and you know, and still allows you to fish and that kind of thing.
When you get to that level, you know, you get to know a lot more people.
Sure.
And then that kind of expands and it keeps on going. And you know, once you get to know one person, well, they might know someone else who knows, you know, the rep over Missile Baits or something like that, and that'll kind of bleed through the system. If you get good tournament finishes, and you know, you stay positive on social media and all that stuff.
Right.
Really making a really good impression on social media. That's one of the main things that I can preach to high school kids or juniors or anything like that wanting to make it up into the industry and into the game, is always staying positive on social media, because that's one thing that sponsors and, you know, representatives and companies, things like that, that's one thing that they look at is your social media
Sure.
interactions. And you know, if you're on there, you know, posting, I don't know, something inappropriate, something, or if you're on there bashing somebody, being negative, saying, well, I know for a fact they cheated and all that stuff, and that's the only reason we didn't win, you know, that's something you really can't do. You always have to be positive on social media.
Sure. How many athletes are on the MSU team?
I'm gonna say around 15 to 20.
Okay.
We had a lot leave last year. We've got a few seniors that are gonna leave this year too. So
Does everybody have a boat, or do you have some boaters and non-boaters?
we pretty well switch everybody around. Like everybody's pretty well got their own partner, but then there's a lot of people that just, you know, who, I'm going to fish a tournament on Pickwick. I need somebody to go with me. Anybody like to go? Somebody.
Okay. And now, like the MSU team, and I'm assuming all those college teams are all co-ed, aren't they? Or at least MSU's team is co-ed, isn't it?
Yep, we've got, 2 girls on our team.
That's just awesome, because, I got 2 young girls, and, like I said before, years ago, that wasn't really a thought as far as that could be a career for them, and now, you got these kids that are just trailblazers, and they're just really setting a tone, and, they can, it's fishing. Fish doesn't care, if you're the strongest or the fastest or about your gender or any of that. That has no bearing on whether that fish is going to bite and whether or not you're going to catch fish. It just doesn't. It's all about, to me, it's about time on the water and paying attention to your surroundings and just thinking it through and just being real methodical in it. The fish, it doesn't care what you wear. It doesn't even care what kind of boat you're in.
Yeah,
It doesn't even care if you're on the boat. As far as that goes.
Yeah, a bass is a bass is a bass. It doesn't
Sure.
matter. It doesn't matter where you are, or who you are, or who your family knows, or anything like that, or what your bank account says. It doesn't matter. You just go out there and you go fishing. That's the main thing. Is just getting out there.
The only thing to me, everything else is pretty much an even playing field. If you put your time in. To me, the one big advantage anymore is from the electronics standpoint. Would you guys, you guys fish pretty regularly, fish all these tournaments. Is that, am I right in that? When you went to the college tournament there on Kentucky Lake, did you see these guys that had all this Panoptic stuff and just all this kind of thing?
Yeah, you'll be idling around out there, and you see boats with four big screens all the time. So,
if you don't have, like, you can have, two graphs, front and back, but, you see guys all the time, like pros, and even on the college trail, heck, some kids on the high school trail, they'll have, two 12-inch graphs on the front, and 2 on the back, and, the electronics game, it's really changed it's changed how the outcomes of all these tournaments pan out.
Yeah.
When you have those electronics, you're able to go out and find things that most people wouldn't look for necessarily, wouldn't see. Especially the main thing, you can have all these big flashy graphs. You can have $10,000 worth of Garmin electronics on your boat, but if you don't know how to use them, it doesn't do good. It doesn't do any good. So that's the main thing. Another thing to preach to juniors and high schoolers and all that stuff. If you have electronics, go out there and just idle around, like look for brush piles, look for logs, look for grass edges, anything like that. Just go out and on your graph, just idle and idle and idle for hours. Mess with the sensitivity, contrast, brightness, all that stuff until you really get those electronics dialed in, and it'll really help you in the long run.
I think back to when my mom and dad built the store in 1974, and the height of technology then was a flasher. And when you mention that, most people your age don't even know what a flasher is. And then it evolved from a flasher to paper graphs. And I can remember selling those rolls of paper that fit in those things and all that kind of stuff. And from there, it's just it's crazy now. It's like watching a video game or something as far as that goes.
That's what some people call it. You get up north on the Great Lakes or down there in Georgia or something like that on the spotted bass lakes, and you get with a spinning rod in your hand and you stare at that graph all day and look at fish schooling, and you just video game fish all day. Watch your bait go down the screen and watch the fish eat it. It's just a whole different ball game. But you know what? Even if you don't have all the expensive electronics, you can still go out and catch fish. Like John Cox, an Elite Series Pro, Bass Opens Pro, he has graphs on his boat, but 9 times out of 10 he doesn't even turn them on. He goes, he's just a shallow water power fisherman, and he knows he's got it figured out so good, and he knows anywhere in the country he goes, he can go and catch them shallow. That's just how he does it, and that's not stopping anybody from going out and say you don't have the graphs. That's nothing like that's going to stop you from going out and being successful in the game.
Right. Back to Jay here, where you just got back from Kentucky Lake, And, you know, the story for the last years and years has been the carp situation down there. Is that something you noticed when you were there? Did you see like numbers of carp, or did you hear people talking about how the fishing was not as great as it was years ago, or you know, you were there, what's your first-hand take on that anyway?
They have an FLW tournament the day before our Big Bass Bash, and I think it took 12 pounds to win the first day.
And you're talking about like the professional FLW
Well,
tournament?
the college FLW.
Oh, okay, the college FLW, okay.
So that took about 12 pounds, and put that in perspective, I think Jason Lambert weighed in, I think in 2016, he weighed in 106 pounds in 4 days.
From Kentucky Lake?
I think so, around that. Yeah.
Wow.
And the carp situation, I mean, it's ridiculous. You just go idle around, and you'll just see, it'll just be like this the whole time, just stacked on top of each other.
On your electronics?
Yeah. Throw-
Wow.
We hooked one in the tournament. It had to be around 30 pounds.
Golly. And there's just billions of them in Kentucky Lake,
you
isn't it?
can't stop them. And what it does is, not only do the Asian carp, they'll eat bait fish,
Mhm.
they'll eat some bait fish, but they'll also take up room for those bass.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, no bass is gonna wanna get up right beside all those Asian carps.
Yeah.
Those big ledges.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
It's definitely changed Kentucky Lake in a lot of ways. You know, we was down on Barkley, which is connected to Kentucky Lake 2 years ago, and there was actually a barge that missed. They have like the on Barkley, it's the Cumberland River channel that runs through it, and you know they run the barges through there, and one barge had actually missed the channel,
Yeah.
and it ran up on a big sandbar. So what it had to do, it had to kick those, you know, massive motors and the propellers and all that they have on the barge to kick it in reverse. And when it done that, it turned that water up. It was rolling, you know, 3 foot, 4 foot waves right behind that barge. And those Asian carp were coming up in the hundreds of thousands, just coming up and jumping, just like you see on all those videos on Facebook and all that stuff. You know,
Right.
people will be running down the river and there'll be those Asian carp jumping and hitting people and all that stuff. There's just thousands of them jumping behind that barge.
Yeah, we were in Blood River, and we were starting to idle out, and we just heard it sounded like bowling balls dropping on the
Sure.
water. I looked at it over at my partner, and I was like, what is that? We just turned around, and then things would just come out about 5 foot in the water and just drop straight back down. I mean,
That's
just
crazy.
like 30 of them in
That's
a
nuts.
20-yard span. And that's also it's really big down there. Like a lot of it's hard on the bass guides down there on Kentucky Lake. 'Cause there's
Sure.
a lot of guides down there on Kentucky Lake. But
Yeah.
now what you'll see is they'll bow fish carp off the back of there's guides that'll take people out, and they'll just let you shoot carp off the back of the boat. They've got big
And, of course, this is off the bass subject, but you know, a lot of people I know used to go to Kentucky Lake crappie fishing, and I'm just kind of assuming that the carp would probably wreck that also.
I'd say that.
Yeah, I'd say
They're
there's
all over
different
the
ones.
lake.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting stuff here. I'm just trying to get a little bit more info here as far as the collegiate fishing goes. Like your tournament there, you went to the Big Bass Bash y'all had. Was there a certain cutoff time as far as like free fishing that you guys had to be off the water?
Yeah, we had, which you could go down there for just regular practice anytime,
Mhm.
but there's, I think we had 1 or 2 official practice days. And, the one before the tournament, we had to be off by 3 o'clock,
Mhm.
in order for the pre-tournament meeting.
That runs the same way, like our high school tournament down here. We got official practice on Saturday, and you know we can be on the water at Safe Flight, which is, you know, down there, depending on the time zone you're in, because the time zone splits Cumberland right in half. And,
Sure, yeah.
So you can be on the water at Safe Flight, which we'll be in Central Time in the tournament, so it'll be around 6:30. It got daylight down there, so really we'll be able to practice from 6:30 until 5 that day, because in the pre-tournament rules, there's a cutoff for practice.
Right.
We have to be off the water by 5 o'clock, and that's just so everybody can go down there and what they're doing instead of like a huge pre-tournament meeting. Like we went down to Cumberland last year and fished the Bradley Roy tournament,
Mhm.
and there was 200 boats in it, and they had the pre-tournament meeting, and it was I can't remember what county it was, but it was in Russell Springs in their high school there. Filled the entire gym up, both sides of the bleachers. There was probably 500 some people in there, 500, 600 people in there.
Really?
And, with COVID and all that stuff going on now, we can't really do that. So what they're doing is we're getting off the water, and they're going to send out texts for registration. So they're going to send out a text, and they're going to say, if you're fishing tomorrow, reply yes. If you're not, reply no.
Right.
And then what they're actually doing too is they're doing like kind of DIY like COVID screenings, kind of stuff like that. They're saying,
Right.
Have you had a fever in the past 2 days or whatever the questions are going to be. They're kind of doing just kind of taking all the protocols they can to allow us to enjoy the tournament fishing like unlike before. From March until about May there was no tournaments anywhere. It was,
No kidding.
there was no tournaments. Everything was canceled.
I guess that's another thing, like, did they have a bunch of protocols there at Kentucky Lake you guys had to go through?
Yeah, we had to print off 2 waivers and
Mhm.
sign them and send them in, just so we could fish. But yeah, they're definitely.
And then like for the weigh-in and stuff, did they limit like who was allowed to be on the stage or?
They don't even let you get on the stage.
Wow.
So you'll take your, of course you got your mask on, you'll take your bag up to somebody and they'll take it up on the stage and you'll sit in front, or you'll stand in front of the stage with a microphone and they'll interview you on that. So
It's definitely changed a lot
Yeah.
since COVID. We went up to Wisconsin, and we had that. It was a 320 some boat tournament, I think. And when you went up to weigh in, you had to have your mask on and all that stuff. The
Right.
weighmaster up on stage, he had his mask on and all that. So they definitely take the right protocols in tournament fishing to allow us to keep going.
Right.
And in this one, like when we were up in La Crosse, Wisconsin, both of us could go up on the stage, but in this one, only one person could go up on the stage with the fish.
Okay.
And me and Jay, we're just going to have to duke it out after the tournament and see who gets to go on stage. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So like Jay, now what, like again, I kinda know, Evan's style of fishing and everything. What are some of your, favorite brands? And I guess, and as far as like what you saw, do you see different brands at the collegiate level, or is everyone kind of pretty much fish about the same kind of thing all around?
No, everybody usually uses about the same stuff. I like to throw, missile baits, Zoom, of course.
Sure.
Those are my top 2. I like to throw a lot of Spro,
Yeah.
my crankbaits, and my frogs, things like that. War Eagle spinner baits.
Now, what about your typical rod and reel setup?
I've got all ducket rods besides like one, I think, and it's a lose, and I throw about all lose reels.
Okay.
So duckets and lose.
So is that pretty much what you see a lot of these younger fishermen throwing anymore?
I mean, it's everybody's got their own interests.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely see a lot of duckets out there. They're really good rods, but I mean, there'll be a lot of people using like the new arc rods,
Mhm.
stuff like that. But
Everybody's going to have their favorite rod.
Sure.
It's like me and Jay and Dad, all our personal preference. We've got when we went to Cumberland this past weekend practicing, we had 30, I think, ducket rods stuffed in that Skeeter rod box. So, that's just kind of what we like. But I know a lot of guys who they'll throw Shimano rods, G Loomis, favorite fishing. They kind of stormed onto the scene in these
Right.
past few years, and they're really growing. I see a lot of guys fishing with favorites. But, it's all based on your preference, and the same with reels too.
Sure. So after this, Jake, does MSU have any tournaments this fall, or what's your schedule like as far as the collegiate fishing goes?
Yeah, we pretty well got tournaments all year round.
Mhm.
I've got, of course, this tournament this weekend with Evan, and then the weekend after that, I'll leave for Lake Dardanelle in Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
And then we come back, and I've got a little bit of a break, and then I go early December to Norris in
Okay.
Tennessee, and then just start that big spring period.
Now, what about you, Evan? If everything, if the COVID thing all gets itself out of its system, do you have tournaments lined up in the spring at the high school level?
Well, even this fall, you know, we got the tournament this weekend, the Bassmaster Open, and then weekend after next will be me and my new high school partner. You know, we'll be down on Cumberland again fishing the Bradley Roy High School Open. That's another huge tournament. You know, Bradley Roy's an MLF pro. You know, he's worked his way up through the system, and he's fishing professionally now. And for the past, I think this is his 8th tournament. So, you know, there's, like last year I was talking about, there's 200 boats in it on Cumberland, so it's always a fun tournament. You go get down there and fish a huge tournament like that. And then, well, the week after that, if me and Jay qualify on Sunday to go to Kentucky Lake, we'll fish the Bassmaster High School National Championship. And basically how that lines out is, say this weekend in the tournament, if there was say there was 210 boats, they're going to take the top 10% of the field, which would be, you know, 21 boats. So that 21 boats, they'll qualify, and they'll go on to fish the Bassmaster High School National Championship.
Okay.
And then really after that, we'll be going to Green River Lake in late November. We'll be there November 21st fishing a SAF National Qualifier.
Right.
And then we got a couple more coming in December. We'll be on Laurel one weekend fishing another SAF tournament, and then I think the week after that one we'll be back down there on Cumberland fishing another SAF tournament. So it's a packed schedule.
Sounds like the high school and college fishing is there's no time for any messing around. Sounds like you guys have got a full schedule either way you go.
It's
that's
busy.
That's pretty awesome. You know, we're about ready to wrap all this up, but you know, gosh, I just if you're a youngster out there, even if you're in high school and you like to fish, and your school offers it, gosh, join one of these teams. I mean, it's a great thing to do, and you know, it's a pathway to education and a career that just wasn't available even a few years ago. And you know, these two guys here are prime examples of what you can do, and you know, and it doesn't matter, you know. The only thing that matters is if you can catch fish. Nothing else really figures into that. You just have to be able to catch fish, and you know, you can't catch fish unless you show up, and such as that. So, you know, before we sign off here, is there anything you'd like to add, Jay, as far as you know, anything you've got that we haven't covered tonight that you'd like to expand on?
Just if you're young, just have time on the water.
Yeah.
Don't get up. Don't have your head down. Everybody has bad days.
Sure.
Stay positive no matter what. And
Yeah.
I've actually got one more thing to add. It's
Sure.
a new thing that we've never had to do in a tournament that's coming up Sunday. There's actually a halftime in this tournament coming Sunday.
You were telling me about
Yeah,
that.
I've never heard of that, but you know, the deal is, you know, official takeoff Sunday morning is at 7 a.m.
Sure.
And they said 4 hours in the tournament, so halfway through at 11 o'clock, all the competitors, we have to take a 15-minute halftime, I guess you could say. And that's just, you can't fish, you just sit down, talk about what you've done in the first half, kind of make plans, make adjustments, things like that, and it's to eat, and whatever you got to do. It's kind of something I've never really seen in a tournament. It kind of shocked me, just like it's doing you.
That'd be hard for me, especially if I was on a hot bite. It'd be hard for me to lay a rod down and the fish biting, but you know, that's the rules. You have to follow the rules. But ooh-wee, I've never heard of that one before. That's a new one. That's a new one. Well, folks, this has been interesting tonight. As far as things go, I've always been curious about this high school and collegiate level fishing and the transition there. So this has been a pretty good show. Found out a lot of stuff, and you know, we'll have Jay back on at a later date and kind of see how he's doing with his tournaments. And who knows, we may have these two back next week and find out how they did down on Lake Cumberland and be part of it. So, you know, until then, folks, just get outdoors with Hook Outdoors.